Fat Joe. Fat Joe has been there and done that and needs to pass on what he realized he was one of the primary East Coast rappers to go it alone, becoming showbiz royalty. Flo Joe in '93, the cash went out as quick as it came in. He says, "I took private planes like it was a taxi. The most cash I at any point lost was flying confidential planes." He denied tales that he owed neglected duties to the IRS. Yet in 2010, FEHO had made more than $3 million out of 2 years, and the IRS came after him for a neglected expense bill of more than $700,000. He settled up yet wound up going to jail for a very long time. You'd figure Tank Joe would begin doing things any other way. Yet after 6 years, the IRS came after him again, saying he'd avoided paying another $1 million. What he would have, $1 million bucks. His eyes would have you realize you think $1 million bucks. That is all there is to it. Basically, he has an awareness of what's actually funny about it. I'm glad to see you all look extraordinary. You all sparkling make certain to realize that IRS see you sparkling too. Today, Fados fabricated his organization back up to about $6 million. He attempts to offer youthful artists the guidance he didn't get coming up. I do this consistently in the event that I'm in the studio and the other top youthful rapper is there. I plunk down with them for an hour and I let them know, yo, cool this and one or the other. Like you see, they don't show you how to do your expenses in rap school. Then again, they never shrouded that in YouTube school either. Excuse me, I gotta check something. Okay, where were we? Number 12, Ja Rule. Since his presentation in 1999, Ja Rule won 4 Grammys and sold more than 30 million records. Ja Rule was engaged with a fierce quarrel with Murder Inc. and got captured on a weapons charge in 2007. Then in 2010, he got captured again for attempting to get a weapon unlawfully. This time he went to prison for quite a long time. And keeping in mind that Ja Rule was beefing with different rappers, think about the thing he wasn't doing, paying expenses while he was being investigated. It came out that Ja Rule owed $1 million in charges. When they let JY Rule out of jail for the weapon charge, they took him directly to state jail to do 6 additional months for tax avoidance. After that, JYU helped run an aggressive live concert. You could have known about the discharge celebration in 2017. 500 individuals went to a Caribbean island expecting the music show that could only be described as epic, yet the show didn't occur, and the visitors wound up resting in a fiasco. Helped tense. JY Rule's co-coordinator got sentenced for misrepresentation. Individuals who'd gone to the celebration sued JY Rule for a $100 million, yet that suit got tossed out on the grounds that the appointed authorities said fundamentally they couldn't demonstrate it was Gil's shortcoming. They purchased tickets. So Jaro got one without losing all that. Today, he has about $4 million. Did he gain anything from the shoot celebration? We'll see. Last year, he sent off his new business, a NFT stage, yet discussing extortion. Number 11, Igga. Regardless of whether you know your rappers, you could perceive Tigga as Kylie Jenner's sweetheart. On staying aware of the Kardashians, it turned out Tiger couldn't keep up, so he recently continued purchasing new stuff as opposed to paying for his old stuff in 2016. Tigga got hit for $1.3 million for not paying the rental on a Lamborghini and a Bentley. So he got himself a Ferrari and a Rolls-Royce, yet he didn't pay for those either, and they got repossessed. He got sued by a property manager for skirting a year of lease, and he got sued by a gem specialist for north of $1 million in adornments he acquired without paying. As of now, you keep thinking about whether Tiger's even known about bills, or then again, on the off chance that he simply thinks claims or how individuals pay for things. Tiga's purportedly worth around $7 million today. However, he appears to burn through cash as quick as he makes it will. He at any point stretch out beyond his installments. He just purchased his new sweetheart Aal Levine a $80,000 accessory, so most likely not yet Tiga. Definey even accused his confided and supervisor, Tommy Matthew, and his attorney, Alan Grubman, saying that they should hold his funds under control. John was in a firm grasp. The main resource he had was the $50 in his wallet. Luckily, Holland Oates acted the hero, recuperating a great many dollars in neglected eminences. John Oates' tumble from wealth to clothes filled in as a sign of the monetary dangers craftsmen face. Presently, how about we reveal the monetary difficulties of English terrible kid number 6? Pete Doty, the organizer behind the Profligates band. Pete Doy was a heartbreaker with a defiant soul. His awful kid's shenanigans didn't simply influence his own life. They negatively affected his financial balance as well. Pete's medication use in prison was way wild, so his gathering restricted him from playing. Rather than gaining an example from it, he accomplished something unforeseen. He began one more band of child ruins in 2003. However, here's the win. Pete's monetary circumstance wasn't precisely rockstar commendable in 2007, when reports surfaced that he was nearly Chapter 11 regardless of procuring millions from his music. Spilled accounts showed that his organizations were scarcely creating a gain. One of them made $2,500, while his visiting organization really lost $28,000. Presently, You may be thinking, indeed, clearly the rock star life was an impact, correct? It didn't exactly turn out. Pete's speculations didn't precisely stir things up around town by the same token. All that cash appeared to have disappeared like a phantom, yet Pete had a redeeming quality as supermodel Kate Greenery. Her abundance was a lifesaver for him. He tracked down asylum in her sumptuous chateau. Kate even liberally supported his recovery. Okay, love and cash. What a combo. Be that as it may, as time went on, so did Kate Greenery. By 2010, sensationalist newspapers guaranteed that Pete was totally poor and living in a terrible storm cellar condo. However, the story improved significantly. The profligates improved, and their gathering was a rewarding and open door. They procured a faltering $2 million by performing only 2 celebration gigs. Not every person is sufficiently fortunate as Pete to have a vocation. Resurgence. The following symbol confronted misappropriation because of his own administrator. Number 5. Harry Nelson. Harry Nelson was all the rage back in the last part of the 1960s and mid-70s. This person was ablaze. He came to the front of Time magazine and had the Beatles as his fans discuss hobnobbing with the greats. Without a doubt, his collections might not have beaten out everyone else. Except who needs that when you have 2 Grammy grants and a cool $5 million record bargain added to your repertoire prior to stirring things up around town 3. Harry's profession went not too far off during the 80s, and things were going to deteriorate. His business administrator, Cindy Sims, took a huge number of dollars from him. Harry Nelson hit the sack one night with a monetarily secure family, and he got up the following morning with $300 in his ledger. Cindy even eliminated abandonment seized from Harry's doorstep to conceal what is happening. Might you at any point accept the dauntlessness left with no other option? Harry defaulted on some loans. It's a miserable story, to be sure. The story doesn't end there. Sadly, Nelson died in 1994 because of cardiovascular breakdown, and he abandoned an inheritance eclipsed by monetary treachery. Remain tuned for one more treachery story, with the focal person being a nearby one. Billy Joel was shaking his time with graph-beating hits, and you'd believe that being one of the top-rated artists would accompany its own monetary fantasy. Indeed, that wasn't true here. Blunt Weber, Billy's previous brother by marriage, director, and adoptive parent to his little girls, betrayed him. He took cash from him, and that wasn't all. He put the cash in dangerous endeavor. Luckily, the genuine thought processes of straightforward Weber were uncovered during a monetary review. And concerning Billy, indeed, he was unable to trust his ears. His once believed brother by marriage had been redirecting a stunning measure of cash from his records. And this wasn't only a couple of bucks. We're discussing $10 million worth of speculations going down the channel. Billy's copyrights were sold without authorization. His quick supervisor even utilized sharp bookkeeping stunts to keep him out of the loop. What's more, additionally, Forthright was in any event, making $20 million in commissions from Bill Joel. It was a deceive. Billy was crushed, and he sued Plain Weber for $90 million. However, the adventure took a surprising turn. Straight to the point declared financial insolvency, leaving Billy Joel simply hanging there. Presently continuing on toward the following demigod who hit the monetary wall with a reverberating accident. Number 3. Dee Snider was a symbol during the 1980s. His music recordings turned into a web sensation even before YouTube even existed. Life was sweet for him. He was swimming in real money like a wild mogul. However, at that point, everything went horribly wrong, and the Senate gathered him to shield his music recordings against allegations of viciousness. How did he respond? He attempted to prevail upon the firm lawmakers by guaranteeing he was a neat and tidy, upstanding family man. Dee even let them know that he never contacted a drop of liquor, and never at any point considered taking medication. Indeed, learned to expect the unexpected. That move misfired for sure, and his fans began questioning his believability, and Dee Snider's profession was finished. He became bankrupt since he lost his well-deserved standing. The following music legend, regardless of having brought in sufficient cash, lost it to his rich ways of managing money. Number 2, Lemmy Kilm was the living meaning of rock and roll. Motorhead's unbelievable lead vocalist had a vocation that extended across ages. You would envision a man like him to have amassed tremendous wealth like Miser McDuck in his cash container, yet the truth was very unique. The underlying assessment of L's domain at the hour of his passing was an incredible $8.3 million. And here comes the zinger. The last court uncovered a pitiful $648,000. Try not to misunderstand me. That is as yet a good total. Nonetheless, taking into account the sheer size of Rowdy Power LM I had, this seemed don't like anything. However, hello. That is on the grounds that he luxuriously spent his well-deserved cash. He was the actual meaning of extreme living. As a demigod for a really long time, he enjoyed an unbelievable love for speed and liquor. He even had a broad assortment of German conflict memorabilia. Lima was carrying on with a day-to-day existence according to his own preferences, and you could fault him. At the point when you're the guardian of rock and roll, you have the right to treat yourself, regardless of whether it implies heading out in different directions from a huge lump of your fortune. Presently, we should investigate the monetary difficulties of this last hero, who, right up till now, is taking on lawful conflict number one, George Clinton. George Clinton, the funk legend, had his reasonable portion of monetary unrest during the 1980s. Inconvenience came thumping when he encountered Bridgeport Music. The music distributing organization plunged in and gained the freedoms to a large number of Clinton's dearest tunes, Tricky Fiend. George petitioned for financial protection in 1985. He left out the tunes he had composed somewhere in the range of 76 and 83 as expected wellsprings of future pay. The Parliament guaranteed that the Chapter 11 recording was deceitful and that even his mark was manufactured. Sadly, the choice was decided for Bridgeport Music, and they were announced pleased proprietors of George's music copyrights. Val at $100 million, however, the rowdy legend didn't surrender. Right up until today, he keeps on battling for his freedom, and in this continuous fight in court, he needed to offer off the privileges to a portion of his different tunes to pay the legitimate expenses. It's not simply demigods who get dazed by cash. Famous people have likewise fallen into this entanglement. Try not to simply believe us. Look at the narratives of how a few renowned big names became penniless. Click the video on your screen now to pay attention from their errors. Thanks for watching Gossip Now.